What's going on, everyone? Vampyr Gaming here. I'm at Virginia Beach with Tony. He got top 4 with Blackbeard. Congrats on your run. How did you finish in Swiss yesterday?
X2.
X2, okay. X2 into the top 4. You love to see it. So we have a Blackbeard deck profile coming at you. Do you remember your matchups?
Yes. Round 1 was a Nell, so it was stock standard Nell without Rygo, so it was much easier.
Yeah, no Rygo, no problem.
There was Zoro, which was a bit of a problem, but I was able to see 7 Shuryus because the Kuzma kept bringing them back, so it was also a no contest. Our next one was a Bonnie, and again, very easy matchups, followed by a Marco, and then my friend who's playing Nami. My friend ended up topping as well. I'll talk about later, but we also matched in the finals. In the top cut as well in the first round, unfortunately. So all those were wins, and then afterwards I lost to a Lim, who was also someone from NYC. He just won the board too fast. I think Lim is a really strong deck. I need to see my cards, and he got a really good start. Afterwards, I played a Shanks, won that one, and then Shanks, which I lost, he's in the finals right now. So
yeah, Yost is really good. Yeah.
Great player. And then I played another Shanks, and then a Bonnie for the finish. So I bubbled him after playing against Bonnie.
Amazing.
And then just today, I played my friend Lama on Nami. It was very unfortunately 2-0, followed by a...
That's what happens when you don't have your leader.
Exactly, yeah. I was able to kill him before. I think the first game he had 8 cards left in deck. Second game he had 12, but he had all bricks in hand, so I just swung and killed him before he needed to lose $10 for his leader effect. Second round was Teach. This is probably the hardest matchup I've played today. In the mirror, because I had to go first 2 to 3 games. I was able to take the first game because I have a strategy where I go later. I allow a lot of Doc Q and Augur. I think it's very important when you go first because there's an action you can do against Jesus Burgess if they have just Jesus Burgess on the board. If you play a 10 cost, negate stability, so you can pop it with Doc Q Augur. So that I misplayed in the first game and the third game, which made it a lot harder to win, but I was able to still take it out after that. Yeah.
Got it. Cool.
And then last one was Zoro, which was really close as well. Just 1k counters. Both games, he needed one more card, and I needed one more card. So it was a lot of hard games when I was going first. Going second, I saw all my Shuryus, so that was a lot easier.
Got it. Cool.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and dive into the deck here.
Cool. So obviously Teach. I think this set, compared to last set I ran no stage. I didn't think it was necessary because you can mill things. Like you don't need to fix your hand as much. But because this set is Kuzan, which is next, I went in 4 stage. You want to see this going first or second? You first hand no matter what. Doesn't matter what matchup, you probably want this. So obviously also running 4 Kuzan staples, 3 + 1 in cards. We use it for Teach, obviously, because you're top end. 4 finger pistols, triggers, as well as reaches weird numbers like 5, 8, 7, for example, like Pluffy. It came in handy today to Pluffy when I did Stronger, next thing, to pop a Luffy. So I run 7 2Ks. I don't think you can run more, but it takes up space of your tech cards, which we'll go into later. 7 is pretty standard for Blackbeard. You can't go to 6, I think. You get Storm too fast by Zoros. You can't go to 8, in my opinion, for me, because I think I need my tech cards. 4 searchers, my Arab against. This set, it's really important to use this one because a lot of decks, when you have to go second or a bad curve, you need to play Jesus early to start swinging at their life or at their board, and this fills it up. It's basically a +1k to Jesus every turn. Every time you use it, because it's 3 cards in the deck, in trash. It also helps fill up for Kuzan. So besides this, I run 10 searchers, so I run 2 Lafitte, and I can go into this more in detail later. But I think Lafitte in this current meta, because it's so aggro, is not as important as per se like in Japan or previous meta. Lafitte's good, but I only have 2. I only use it on certain Dawn turns, so I can fill up my Dawn and find other pieces. I still run 4 Augur and 4 Doc Q.
Yeah, a lot of people have opted to cut either one or both of those cards.
Yeah, I think this is just fundamental Blackbeard. If you're playing Blackbeard as like I did in 09, you just want to focus on fundamentals. I think things like cutting out for bid and just playing bid and more black holes and other stuff, it's a very greedy and it's not very consistent. So you'll have games where you don't trigger out of life, and you're stuck in your hand, and that will really hurt you. So this came in very clutch in some matchups today, where my finals were Swiss. Final match in Swiss, and also when I went first in Plouffe, my top 4 match against Plouffe, this basically gave me a textbook win. It was like Doc Q on 2, 3 Don, Van Augur, Kuzan Augur on 5, pop is 4 cost, we play a 7 cost, I play another Augur, Kuzan, through Kuzan, and Doc Q, pop is 7 cost. So now he has nothing on board, I have 3 bodies, all sideways, and like 8 cards in hand. So the game is completely over. He basically scooped after like he played the second 9 drop and died. Because I can also reach 9 with Stronger. I think I also still run 4 bursts. Some people cut down to 3. I think 4 is really important because you want to see it on going second in the mirror, for example, or in certain matchups. Like I said, there's a lot of matchups that are now you need to sprint as fast as possible to make this as big as possible. So like you're going second on a bad curve into Plouffe, you probably want to see this first. A lot of matchups require this out on the board, and this make it big. So if you miss it, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, and it's like the biggest thing is like it's like minimum it's a 4-drop like 9k, best case it's like a 4-drop 12k, and you just play 2 of those, and against most decks you just threaten lethal. Like I couldn't see a world where like that card is just so good. I just couldn't see it ever being at 3.
Yeah, I like this a lot. It's very strong. I didn't see any matchups that the KO effect actually mattered for, but it's just a very annoying body. I was protecting a lot of Zoros, so I teched in 4 Shuryus. Activate main kill 3 cost. This answers Zoro. If you go second, it's game winning on second. Against Bonnie and RG Smoker, you basically pop the Shigis or any of the blockers for free, and it's very efficient because you also play it on 4 to start swinging at their leader. It's 5k and 7k on their turn, so it's very hard to trigger to remove. Similar to that vein, I have 1 Liberation as a tech card for aggro, like Plouffe, Dofi, and Zoro in a way, and also for green Bonnie and Smoker. I obviously can't use them to on board, but if it was on board, you just play Shuryu and you fill up your done some other way. I have to have 1, I think, because if I plan on making top cut, if I don't have it in my deck, then they won't play around it. So they just go wide as possible. So this was a consideration, plus having 1 gives you the option to search for as hard as you can, and it could be an answer for a tricky board.
How often throughout the tournament did you play Liberation, or did it come up?
I played it twice in the finals today, or I should have played it twice in the final, or this top 2 match today. So there's a strategy I do against Plouffe now, where if they're going first, they play a 4-drop, and on 7 Dawn, the best play is Kibutaro plus Songoro. I let them do that because Liberation answers those 2 bodies, and they're down -1, so they're a lot weaker next turn. So this is a interesting play. I don't think it might not be optimal. I just picked thought we tested it for a bit, and it looked like it was good. I didn't do it properly during the first game, so it was not a success. But that's the idea of that. And I think I used it against a few decks, like for example, like Zoro. I used it to kill their 5-drop and their 3-drop rusher. So it had value. But 9% of the time, just seeing it and putting it into your hand makes them play around it. So they play suboptimally. That they respect it. 2 black hole. I think it's really important. I would like 3, but again, Liberation takes 1 of the slots. I don't want to take any more counter out of my deck because it's already pretty low. The black hole is mainly just for the mirror. Also reaching some weird numbers that Doc Q and Vinyl and Star can't reach. I only run 2 because if I win dice roll or I go second into teach in the mirror, I don't have to use as many of these as possible. I can just play a 4-cost Jesus or a Kuzan and just establish and continue to put pressure. They're forced to use their black holes to deal with that. Because if my Jesus is bigger than theirs through the stage and events, then I can swing into them. So I did a lot of swinging today, like my teach mirror, where I swung like with leader or the thing, like 8, 10 into their burgesses, even though they're like 7Ks, just to get cards out of hand. Because I knew in future turns I could still dings down with these 2 cards. This came in clutch. I top decked this, and it won me the Blackbeard mirror, killing their burgesses. And I have 2 vascular shots. Trump blockers, they fill up the curve really well. It's not good into Mole Pistol, obviously, but it's better, I think, with the Vaughn, because the Vaughn is a blocker for 1 turn. You can't swing with it if you don't need it. Like, you can swing with it if you need it, but I think having 2 Dawn is much better. So, like, for example, tip for people playing with the Shanks, you can play a vascular shot on your 9 Dawn turn, and a Kuzan, and pop out a Jesus, for example. if they play 10 cost Shanks, then you just block your 5k and you block with this. So you basically just blocked a huge attack for 2 Dawn. That's kind of why I think about it. There's also optimal plays where like you play Double Jesus and a Vasco and you basically secured board state. That's my idea about this. I think it's like a very stock standard list as an asset. I think the bid 500 million and relying on triggers is not my play style. It's a bit cheesy, but I do recognize that bid is really good in the mirror. Really good in the mirror, so you will win you games. Plus bid plus augur can bounce or bottom deck or bottom life at Jesus. So there's benefits in everything. I just think it's too expensive, and I need to see my cards. So that's generally what I do. My thought going through this, and yeah.
Got it. Amazing. Well, yeah, it really worked out. You know, you did your fundamentals, which is like the big core of the game, and just doing what you know best. So it absolutely, you know, top 4 is phenomenal. A huge run there. Overall, do you have any tips for anyone who's looking to play Blackbeard?
I think the biggest tip I could give to people playing Blackbeard is like just practice. This is kind of generic, but when I played Blackbeard 09, my first 2-3 weeks, I was losing every game in the sim. It was very difficult to like find a hold of like Blackbeard, understand it. And I think just talking with good Blackbeard players, a lot of people picking the deck, they're getting better at it. There are many good ones here. Yeah, I think it's a very difficult deck to pilot because you must know a lot about the meta. But there's a lot of small hand fundamentals that really matter in this deck. There's a lot of times when you don't lead ability on certain turns when I play against Bonnie. I don't lead ability on 8 because people stop running the Rosinante 8 cost. So the best play is to play Hody that takes the life. So a lot of these small like hand advantages you can make will help you win your games. I still think if you want to practice and get good at Blackbeard, you should run these cards to have fundamentals, and you could play much better. If you want to take them out at some point to like get wins, better wins with like bid or like things like that, you have fundamentals down, so it'll be easy for you to transition. And I didn't talk about the feat actually, just real quick. The feat I have only 2 of because the best play now, this set, is on 2 Dawn is this against most plays. This mills, this looks at top 6 or 9 cards on your second turn basically, and mills a lot of cards in your trash. I only play Lafitte if I'm against aggro because it would force a pseudo blocker swing, or if I need to fill up a Dawn for 2 Dawn. Because like this is your best. This is not as important anymore because the meta is much faster. Last set you can play this out, Shanks has to deal with it, and it saves you a life. This set not as good. If you miss example 4 Dawn turn and you miss one of these, I guess the matchup you need to see these, you basically just like lose all tempo and you have to come back from the game. So those are my thoughts about the deck list and tips for moving forward. I'll be playing something similar to this probably in coming weeks. I know Lim is coming on the grind, so I'll probably bump up my liberations or play different ratios. Maybe I'll play bid for a bit and test. I didn't have much testing, but this is what I was comfortable with, so I just brought it here, and it performed pretty well.
Got it. Well, when you're playing, what is your ideal mulligan? What are we looking for?
Yeah, sure. Depends on the matchup, obviously. Generally, generic, I think you want to see stage and era. If you're going first, you want to see stage, plus, depends on your matchup. This is ideal curve. These 4 cards, especially this card on 5 is really important.
Busted.
It's a +1 hand, and it plays out from a toolbox of trash. So you can find whatever you want, take it out. I played this in the Poofy matchup, and it was completely over after that 5 Dawn turn. This is my best mulligan hand. When I play Teach, I think a lot of people in matchups, for example, against Shanks, they'll use stage, find a Teach, and they're like, oh, I'll take Teach. I don't think that's the correct play. Most people will just grab all the teachers they can find, and they're at a hand where they're all full of bricks, so they're at a bad situation. Because of stage and how much you search with era and defeats and Kuzons and everything, all the draws, you basically are guaranteed to cycle through your deck to find a teach before you get a 10 Dawn if you play this early enough. So that's one of the mistakes I keep seeing, because when I was playing into Swiss today, I remember a lot of games where I would see this my first full lead, obviously never take it, and pick up something else I need at the moment. Like I need to see Augur on 5 or a Kuzon on 5, or I need to see a Burst in my matchup. I grab that more important, obviously. And then by the time 10 Dawn comes or onwards, I have 1 teach in hand. I can keep teaching and chaining because I'll see 4 cards every turn with the stage. So I'll basically mill through my deck to find the next teach. It happened a lot in the Nami matchup where I have to see like chain 3 teaches in a row, and because of that, I was able to, like on 10 Dawn, after I established the board of Jesuses, I was able to win that matchup. Going second's a little different, as I said. Most matchups, you want to see like these two cards to start for your first turn. Otherwise, you can see this to answer to one drop. If it's an important one drop, like Body Searcher, a Lafitte Searcher, or a Nami Searcher, you have to play this because it's like a handshake. If you don't play it, they're gonna get a card, and this gives you a card and Soul Blocker anyways. You can play this afterwards on turn 5. 5 down turn, like the 4 down turn is obviously one of these 4 drops, or fill it up with Lafitte, Era, and Stage, or however you can, and players shoot on to swing, obviously. 5 down turn, your best play obviously is still Kuzan. In the mirror, it's really important. It costs them to use Stronger plus Black Hole to answer the mirror, the Kuzan. Otherwise, it just brings out a Burgess or something else you need in the future. And nothing beats the Blackbeard's double Jesus turn on 8, because it leads you right into Teach and onwards. So if you're able to see 2 of these on 8 Dawn, you're pretty much set for most matchups. Unless it happened to me, I was into Kloofy. I was aggroed down before 8 Dawn, so some misplays in those games. But you just generally want to stay healthy and play on curve. You're really Dawn tight compared to most decks because everything's so expensive, but because they're so expensive, they're very powerful at answering bodies. Yeah. I think my hardest matchup is still Dofi. I didn't see any Dofis this set, so
huge.
Very fortunate. No Dofis. I think I would lose to every single Dofi I see because I don't run any triggers. My deck has one Liberation, so very fortunate. If I don't see you don't see these cards in Dofi Mirror, your Dofi match, you're already scooped.
Got it.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, amazing. Well, congrats again. Do you have any shoutouts?
Yes, so I shouted a little bit on the stream earlier, but I have a good friend named Daniel Hidalgo. He's an NYC. He's the one who taught me all these fundamentals on Blackbeard. I think he does coaching because I got some services from him. He's Nats plays here. He plays Blackbeard, Black decks in general, and he's like a really good friend of mine. So he sat me down for a couple hours, talked about matchups because I needed like crash course on matchups. He basically told me like all the things I need to know and what I'm misplaying and all that stuff. So that's my biggest shout out. Shout out to my girlfriend, my parents, family supporting, and all my friends who came with me to the Airbnb, Mike and Nelson and Kevin, and especially shouts to Llama, Leon, because I unfortunately faced you in the Swiss. It was your only loss. He was 9-1, and he matched into me in top cut, and unfortunately I won both games. So big shout out to him. Sorry about knocking you out Friendly Fire, but I'll get you next time. You'll get me next time.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.